The media is not your friend. Many people out there might know this, but they still hold the minds of so many people around this nation. The New York Times declares itself all the news that's fit to print. Yet when a big story comes out implicating President Biden and his family of taking massive amounts of corrupt payments for their influence, the New York Times says nothing. Watch this clip. Jim Jordan is going to take a couple of minutes to explain what took place.
CIA director have to say when you put the screws to him?
He said for a 4-hour interview, Jesse, and he further confirmed that this thing was all political. Understand that Tony Blinken first contacts Mike Morrell and says, oh, what do you think about this laptop issue? And then Blinken later that same day, October 17, 2020, sends Mike Morrell the USA Today article, the story. That story gets put in the very letter that John Brennan, Mike Morrell, and 49 other former intel officials sign on to. And they, again, just didn't sign on as Mike Morrell, private citizen exercising his First Amendment rights, John Brennan, private citizen. They signed on as former acting director of the CIA, former head of the CIA. They used their title. So, yeah, we expect Mr. Goldman talked about public servants. We expect public servants not to use their title to influence an election. And it was so political when it was all done, this talking point they wanted to give Joe Biden for that final debate with President Trump. It was so political. After that debate's over, the campaign calls up Mr. Morrell, thanks him for it. He gets an attaboy from Steve Ricchetti, chairman of the Biden campaign.
Sure.
So it just further confirmed all that.
So, Congressman, did you ask him why the CIA lies to voters to swing elections to Democrats?
We asked him about what took place in the Publication Review Board, where it looks like someone, based on what Mr. Carians, another individual who signed that letter, who had a different matter pending in front of that review board, gets called in October by that review board, and they said, your book is fine. Oh, by the way, would you like to sign on to this letter? So a current employee of the CIA was actively soliciting people to sign on to this letter that was used in a total political fashion with all their names associated, so Joe Biden would have a talking point in the debate. Why do you need a talking point if the laptop's not real? If it's all fake and Russian information, why would you need the talking point? And he presented it as if it was all organic. They just Shazam. It just happened out of the goodness of all these individuals' hearts. They wanted to do this as if there was no political motivation whatsoever, and we know that was not accurate.
All right, let's get some more follow-ups. I think you got to bring every single one of those 51 in there.
And yet, CNN, New York Times never elucidate their viewers, their readers, about said actions. Do you think that if it had been Donald Trump, that this wouldn't be played over and over and over on loop for eons? It still is. They're still smearing him for Russiagate. There are people that still hold the idea that he said fine people on both sides without immediately stating it.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
This is the state of affairs with the media. They're not your friend. They are, as Trump said, the enemy of the people. And I'm one of those suckers that used to believe that the New York Times was the gold standard of journalism. But they're not even putting this out there. They're not even making this available to their readers. They become an operative of the DNC with a wide reach, the propaganda arm of the Democrat National Committee, maybe of China. Because when you see what's happening in America, when you see it blowing up as it is, who are the influence peddlers? Who are the true drug dealers of our nation? The media are assigning you your beliefs, telling you what to think. So many people out there cannot resist the power of this drug. And thus, our country descends. And all they do is clean up with wads of cash that are being rained down upon them, either by China or by the U.S. taxpayer. The Biden family is clearly corrupt, as is CNN and the New York Times.